Good day, welcome back to the Alfology2 podcast. How are you doing? So this is just a bit of a extra bit of recording, but this episode is pre-recorded. I recorded it on Christmas Eve, and I did it outside basically I went up into the country a little bit to record some nature sounds, and then ended up having a rant into the microphone, and what that turned out to be was sort of a rant about food. It wasn't supposed to be about food, it's just how it ended up. So there's some reasonable ideas in there about food and some other stuff as well, because it's completely impromptu. And it does take about sort of 5 or 6 minutes to get going, but after that, the content's pretty good. It's just, you'll have to be a little bit patient at the beginning, just because I caught myself by surprise by recording it, so it did take me a few minutes to get stuck in. But do enjoy. I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. This is an impromptu recording. So I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I ended up with a new microphone, which I did. But I don't really know how to use it, so what I thought I'd do is bring it out to the middle of nowhere and experiment recording some nature sounds, which is what you can hear in the background. You can probably hear wind. You can probably hear water, I think. I don't know where the fucking water would be. You can probably hear aeroplanes maybe in the distance, and birds and general wildlife. And the reason for the birds is that I'm just up the road from a place called Zealandia, I think that's what it's called, and it's a bird sanctuary. I think it's the largest in New Zealand, and it's where they protect the domestic birds here, so they don't get killed off by foreigners. So it's actually the best place to see and hear birds in the whole of New Zealand, even though it's basically they're all in captive. And why I decided to start talking into the mic, I have no idea. What I'm going to do is probably put it down so it stops making so much noise, and sit down and smoke a cigar and just chat for a bit. I don't know if I'll put this out as a podcast or not, or if it's just going to be one of the things that I do on my own, but that's what we're going to do. So hold on whilst I light my cigar, and we'll fucking crack on. Yeah, what you probably heard there is me trying 5 times to light the cigar. Don't know if you know, but Wellington, where I am, is known as Windy Wellington. Funnily enough, because it's windy as fuck, so It's not great for lighting cigars. I've also bought a beer up with me. My big plan was to sit here and record the nature in silence whilst I read my book, had a beer and a cigar. But I did that for all of about 30 seconds before I put the headphones on to see if I could hear the nature sounds, which I can, and then I just started talking, which is where we are now. So, yeah, there we are. If I do put this out as a podcast, then just thought I'd let you know. I'll set the scene for you. I'm sat on top of a hill, pretty big hill. I had to fucking walk up here, which is never nice. But near a wind turbine. I'm in Wellington in New Zealand, and I have a lovely view over the entire city and the surrounding suburbs. It's Christmas Eve, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have nothing to do, so this is where I am, and it's pretty fucking spectacular, the view. I might take a photo and upload it with this if I decide to release it. So, yeah, if I do put this out as a podcast, and you are a podcast listener, then I hope you enjoy listening in general. It's pretty weird, me recording my voice and strangers listening to it. When you think about it, it's not like I'm anybody of note, or if anyone knows who I am. But there are genuinely people who I don't know who tune in, which is, fucking class, to be fair. That gives me a buzz, more than new listeners, more than the number of listeners. What gives me a buzz is listeners from new places. I really enjoy seeing the list of places that people have listened to. I think I mentioned it recently that we're up to 20 countries now, which is fucking hilarious, particularly at the non-English speaking ones. That's completely mad. I am actually sat in a pretty public place. I'm sat on a public bench, but my rationale for just randomly sitting here talking to myself is that no one's going to hear it, or at least just the occasional passerby. Like there is one at the moment. But I don't know if you can hear his footsteps. Can you hear his footsteps? The runner? I can hear it. I got my headphones plugged into the mic, but I don't know if it will come through on the recording. It sounds like those birds are real close, but they're not. Essentially. Like it sounds like I've got a bird sat next to me, but they're quite some distance away. Like I'm near a bit of bush, but not that near. Like I can't see any birds. So yeah, the problem with just doing an impromptu recording like this is that I don't have anything to talk about, really. I haven't got anything planned. I'll have to look at my podcast list and see if there's anything I can just whip up off the top of my head. Podcast list, by the way, is just a list that I make whenever I'm in public or just doing something else and I think of something that could go on the podcast. I write it down so I don't forget. It's nothing worse than coming up with a great idea for a podcast and then forgetting it straight away. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, alright.
we'll go through a few of them actually. Like some of these are very similar to like the previous quickfire ideas thing. Like they're not actually big enough ideas to create into an entire podcast. Like they're just small ideas. So I'll have a crack, without actually writing anything down or doing any research into these. I'll have a crack at going through some of them and see if we can create a nice podcast experience from doing that. I'll also stop the smoking and try and get a bit of like audio going. The thing is, I don't know if this will turn out like, I don't know how the audio quality is going to be. I don't know if the nature's going to be too loud, or if you'll be able to hear my voice, or if it's going to be too windy. So I'm just going to have a crack at it. If it doesn't come out like a proper podcast, then I'm going to look like a fucking weirdo sat on top of a hill talking to myself on Christmas Eve. If it does work out, then that'll be good. Be a good experience for me as well, doing it without, because normally I don't know if you, well, you probably won't know, but I write the podcast. I don't write a script. It's not like I don't write every word, but I pretty much, for a standard half an hour episode, I'd have a whole sheet of A4 worth of things that I want to talk about. Just because otherwise, if I don't, like, I'll forget to say something and then I'll have to go back and insert it again. So you have to find a balance between it being and feeling natural and actually including everything you want to talk about. And in terms of editing it afterwards, I do sometimes re-record little bits if they're like shit. The problem is with the editing is if you don't have a proper editing setup, it does like fuck the podcast up a little bit. It makes the recording sound a little bit shit on the playback, which you might have noticed if you're a listener, that sometimes you can definitely tell where there are cuts and stuff. But there's not much I can do about that because I don't have any money, and none of you guys give me any money to do the podcast, and I don't run any adverts because no fucking advertiser would touch what I talk about with a barge pole. So it's a case of just fucking get used to it, I guess. I probably won't edit this one too much because it will really sound choppy with the background noise. If the background noise suddenly changes to different background noise, it's going to sound shit, isn't it? That was a lovely cigar. Cigarillo, as you can tell. It didn't take me very long to smoke it. It was a cigarillo, not a cigar. It's only a small one. So, what was I doing? What was the point of this? Yeah. So, talking about some ideas. Some quick fire ideas. Quick fire ideas too. Alright, I'll get the list up. Hold on. Oh, might have to edit that. That's a bit of a long pause, wasn't it? Alright, so yeah, this actually isn't an idea for a podcast. It's just an idea that I've had generally. I don't know if it would be like a short story or something, but basically it's like betting on whether or not like a toothbrush is going to outlive humanity. So there's just like some guy just rode past on a bike and gave me such a fucking weird look. Like, what the hell is that guy doing? Oh well, I don't know him, never going to see him again, apart from when he's on his way back. So yeah, the idea was toothbrushes versus humanity. Fuck. So if you were to discard your toothbrush now, the chances are, if it's not recycled or crushed or sent off into space, that your toothbrush would remain in existence for the next 500 years until it broke down. So there's like a composting time of 500 years, which is like quite a long time. That's a lot. Like every toothbrush you've ever had still exists somewhere, probably in landfill in China. Oh, that plane's annoying, bastard plane. So, obviously, with the rate of destruction that the human race is going for, we talked about the end of the world on a podcast, and that the world would end by, I can't remember what the fucking date was now. Was it like the 29th of July 2040? I reckon it was. I reckon it was the 29th of July 2040. I predicted the world's going to end through computers rising up. But there's plenty of other threats, like climate change and nuclear war. So, like, if I were a betting man, which I am, so if I was to place a bet on whether or not my toothbrush is going to outlive humanity, I'd say it would. I'd say by the time my current toothbrush, Oral-B electric, it's a class toothbrush by the way, really gives you a clean feel. But if I was to let my toothbrush go and replace it with a manual one, I don't know why I would, and I were to discard my toothbrush into landfill, then what the fuck was that? Oh, sorry. That sound you just heard, how high quality the microphone is, was a matchstick falling off the top of a pack of cigarillos and hitting a beer can. Yeah, so if I was to replace my toothbrush and discard my current one into landfill, would there be any humans still alive by the time the toothbrush was decomposed? I think probably the answer is no. Which is quite impressive, really. Sorry, I might have just done a little cut there just because I was getting eyeballed by strangers. Lots of people walking past, actually. More than I thought there would be. Oh well, don't care, don't know them. Yeah. Toothbrush is gonna outlive the human race. So my current toothbrush is still gonna be there by the time the last human is killed. Which, that's just nuts, isn't it? And this isn't just my toothbrush. I don't have a special toothbrush. Your toothbrush will be the same. If you have a toothbrush, I hope you do have a toothbrush. If you don't have a toothbrush, go and get one. They're pretty cheap, and they really are very good for your dental health. And but the only problem is that they probably will outlive you. So toothbrush is for life, not just for Christmas. It's like buying a tortoise. It's like a nice thing to buy, but you've got to be prepared for the fact that you're going to have to leave that in your will. That being said, who leaves their toothbrush in a will to someone? It's such a fucking weird thing to get. Like, you're not going to reuse somebody else's toothbrush. I think the message behind this is, first of all, we're all going to die. Obviously, that's the message behind everything in life. It's all just reminders that we're going to die, or distractions from the fact that we're going to die, and the fact that once we're all dead, your toothbrush will still be here. So basically, look after your toothbrush and use it for a long time. Don't keep buying toothbrushes all the time. It's stupid. If you go away for the night, remember to take your toothbrush with you. It's not that hard. There's no need to spend money on a new toothbrush for one night only. It's ridiculous. It's going to be there well after you are dead. That toothbrush is more durable than you are. I don't know if you heard that, but there was a bird that flew by, and I think you could hear its wings flapping. So I don't know if you can hear that, but I can. Which is pretty fucking cool, to be fair. So yeah, that would be that first idea. The toothbrushes. I wonder what odds you'd get if you were to bet on it. I reckon 5-1 that humans will still be here in 500 years' time. I can't see us surviving another 200 with the way it's going. It seems that the more technologically advanced we get, the level of understanding of our of life doesn't increase with the amount of technology we have. So, we're basically still like fucking apes, right? But now we're apes with nuclear weapons. So, if you gave a nuclear weapon to an ape, there's a strong chance that it's going to do something fucking stupid with it. And I think that it will, that ape. And that ape is probably Donald Trump. But you never know. It could be anybody. It could be future Prime Minister of the UK, Hugh Grant, who nukes us all into oblivion. Which, to be honest, that'd be a nice way to go. I'd like to get nuked by Prime Minister Hugh Grant. Yeah, he was so good in Love Actually. And if he did nuke us, well, yeah, okay, that might change the odds a little bit. If we all die in a nuclear war, I'd imagine that the nuclear weapons would probably destroy the toothbrushes as well. I can't imagine my toothbrush surviving a nuclear holocaust. It get melted under the extreme temperatures. So yeah, if we die by nuclear war, then maybe it will be neck and neck for humans and toothbrushes. But yeah, if it's global warming or disease or asteroids or standard war without nuclear weapons, which probably wouldn't kill everybody. But yeah, if it's any of those things, then yeah, toothbrush is going to win. And so there's an argument there for like, should we worship our toothbrushes as our overlords? Probably not, actually. Just reflected on that sentence, probably shouldn't worship our toothbrushes as our overlords. That might be crazy. Maybe I am crazy. Don't like sitting there talking to themselves on top of mountains is what crazy people do, isn't it? That being said, they don't tend to bring recording equipment with them. So if I am crazy, at least I'm crazy and getting the message out there. That was another bird flapping by, I hope you heard it. So we'll take a different direction. Take a completely different direction now. I was thinking earlier today about eating meat. For those of you who don't understand casual English, I was thinking earlier about eating meat, not eating meat. And what's the rationality behind it? Like, is there a rationality behind it? And I actually do have a rationale behind which animals I'll eat and which ones I won't. So this morning I was eating bacon, and I was thinking, wow, fucking pigs are cute, aren't they? They are cute pigs. They're like dogs, only massive. They are massive pigs. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a pig up close. They are fucking huge. So I was thinking about eating pigs, and I was eating one, so I can't get too high and mighty about it. And I thought, like, well, this doesn't necessarily feel right, because pigs are cute. But then I also thought, at the same time, quite callously, they are cute, but they are also very tasty. And I reckon they are tastier than they are cute. So I think that is my rationale. If the animal is tastier than it is cute, I'll eat it. That's the rule. So cows, not cute. No problem eating a cow. Chickens, not cute. No problem eating a chicken. Fish, nothing cute about fish. So I'm eating that. Ducks, extremely cute, right? Very cute are ducks. But there's an important point to consider. Ducks are extremely tasty. Like, if you looked at a duck and you were to say, that's going to be tastier than it is cute, so you're fucking mad. But it turns out they are. So can you hear that thing buzzing around? There might be a wasp after my beer. So yeah, wasps. Dickheads. Definitely would eat a wasp. Eating insects. I last week I had some. Where are you? I can hear you, wasp. You could be any distance away. I have no idea. No way of telling. Stupid fucking microphone. Great microphone. Yeah, insects. I ate some insects last week. They're ground down into corn chips. So it's like tortilla chips, but they're made of corn, like they normally are. But there's insects ground in them, so it's like a good protein snack. It's not fucking crazy, like $7 though. So that wasn't great for one pack of chips, but it was a nice experience and it tasted fine, and I didn't feel bad about eating it. It's like you can't see the fact that they're insects, so it was nice. I think it's crickets. I think they're made of crickets, and they were delicious. So eating insects, because they're not cute and they are slightly tasty, so on that scale they go. But yeah, ducks, go back to ducks. Like, if you looked at a duck and was like, that's going to be cute, tastier than it is cute, mate, that is so fucking cute, I'm not eating that. But they're just so crispy. Duck, it's just fucking heavenly, isn't it? You might argue, and you'd probably be right, that the morality of eating another living being is shouldn't be based on the subjectiveness of how cute it is. But I think for me that it is. Like, I'd eat a horse. I wouldn't eat a rabbit. Rabbits are too cute and not very tasty. I have eaten rabbit, not again. They're very cute, rabbits, and not very tasty. Don't know about dogs and cats. I'm assuming that dogs and cats aren't as tasty as they are cute. But that's only an assumption. I don't think I'd try it. I think I'm too westernised. I don't think, even if it was bred in the same way that chickens are bred, it doesn't, it's not like a house pet or anything. I still don't think I'd be able to eat a dog. But maybe I would if I was desperate. Lambs are extremely cute, but again, extremely tasty. The sheep are pretty cute generally, but as they get older, they turn into mutton, which is not tasty. So old sheep are safe. Young sheep, on the other hand, not so safe. This is all pretty fucked up talking about this. I'm sure, when in 20 years' time, when everyone's vegetarian, the audio of this is going to get played back to me, and it's going to be like, wow, you were some fucked up, crazy motherfucker. So, to all those people in 20 years' time playing this back to me, look, I'm sorry. I'm just fitting in with other people. Another cut there as some people went by. So, yeah, that's the ultimate formula for working out whether or not you should eat an animal. Is it tastier than it is cute? If it's tastier than it is cute, then you're fine to eat it under the morals of Alfology, which is a pretty fucking immoral place to begin with. It's not great, but if you're listening and that's where we are, I'd imagine most of this is pretty fucking unusable, isn't it? I'm just generally talking out into nowhere with no plan or structure. Nice way to spend my afternoon, though. It's pretty warm out here. Other than the occasional wind, which does harden the nipples somewhat. God, I hope no one's walking past and heard that. Fuck me. Don't mind podcast listeners hearing it, but strangers might seem a bit weird. It might seem like I'm one of those sex offenders. Which is like where sex offenders would traditionally hide, isn't it? Out in the wilderness, away from society. Although, not many sex offences to commit out in the wilderness. So you have to go back into the civilization eventually. Anyway, I'm not a sex offender, so it's irrelevant. What else could I talk to you about? I don't know how long this recording's been going. So pre-edits, I've been going for fucking 30 minutes. Mad. Maybe we can see if we can do an hour. It's another 30 minutes though. And I'll probably cut about like a good 5 minutes out of that 30 out. So, God, who knows where we'll be. Oh, so yeah, like, well, no, right, we'll continue along with the rationality of eating meat. So, like, I don't know about you. This is going to be a rhetorical question because you can't answer me. Actually, you can answer me because we have this fucking voice feature. So do answer me if you can. If you use the link in the description of this podcast, you can send me a voice message with your answer to this question. Have you ever seen an animal that you've eaten? So, like, have you been to a farm, seen a pig, and then knowingly eaten that pig the day after? Because I don't think I have. I don't think I've seen an animal. I have actually. 2 occasions where I can think of it. I went mackerel fishing and I caught some mackerel, which I then ate. But I think fish are a little bit different. Fish are just dumb, aren't they? They're not like... I don't really feel much moral guilt about eating fish, not anywhere near as much as I do about like mammals. So I did that. I caught a mackerel that I ate, so I actually sort of did the deed myself. And the other time, maybe this is why I don't like rabbit, actually, thinking about it, that my gran, when I was a kid, brought over some rabbits. I don't know where she got them from, probably a butcher, I don't know. But they're like full-on rabbits, right? So, they're not, it's not like rabbit meat. These are proper rabbits, and they look cute. You know, they are cute, aren't they, rabbits? And she's like, I'm going to make you a rabbit stew. I'm like, I don't know if I really want rabbit stew, Gran, to be honest. But she's like, no, I'm making it. So I'm out the room, and I come in, and I don't know what she was necessarily trying to do, but she had a hammer, and she was repeatedly hitting the rabbit in the head with the hammer. The rabbit's dead, by the way. It's not currently alive. But yeah, she's smashing its head off with a hammer. And then later, she skinned it. And I remember eating it and thinking, yeah, I'm not sure rabbit's for me. I don't know if it's just because she's not a very good cook. That's not an insult to her cooking. I genuinely don't know whether she's a good cook. She hasn't cooked for me since I was a kid. So I don't know whether it was just that the rabbit was shit, poorly cooked, or if I just don't like rabbit, or if I was psychologically scarred by seeing her bash its head off with a hammer. So yeah, that's the other time I've seen an animal I've eaten. I've never really been into the whole thing. People go to restaurants and look at lobsters and go, oh, I'll have that one. Like, I don't like seeing it alive and then seeing it dead like 20 minutes later on my plate. I'm more happy with the way it's done, where like steaks you can't identify as a cow, which is what's good about eating insects as well. That if they're ground down into corn chips, then you don't give a fuck. Whereas you might give a fuck if you ate a whole one. So yeah, those are the 2 times in my life I've seen an animal that I've eaten: mackerel fishing and my gran smashing rabbit's head off with a hammer. So my question to you would be: have you ever seen anything you've eaten? If you kill your own food, then like fucking fair play to you. If you've got enough guts to kill for your food, then that's probably the way it should be. That you should only eat stuff that you've killed yourself. If you haven't got the bollocks to do it, like me, then don't kill it. That would be my preferred method of doing it, but it's not going to work that way. And there's no way I'm fucking killing a cow. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, what do? Do you punch it? I could probably give it a nasty electric shock with like a fly swat or something, but like I don't have a gun. Like, how am I supposed to fucking kill a cow? On the subject of cows, I don't like people who ride horses on the road and who spend their life dedicating their life to their pet horse. I think it's weird. you know, that they're not house animals. They live in a different house to you. You have to go and like shovel their shit for like hours a day. And they don't really form a connection with you. You don't actually need to ride them anywhere. They don't pull a horse and court anymore. You don't ride them into battle. And I've always thought that like the way of displaying why it's stupid to have a horse is if someone had a cow in the equivalent capacity. Someone's like, oh yeah, so I can't come for breakfast in the morning. I've got to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go and groom my cow and shovel its shit, and then I'm going to ride it round on the road for a bit. You people were like, what the fuck, you're going to ride a cow around on the road? You're like, yeah, that's what I do. I ride my cow. You know, I brush it and then I ride it around. People be like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm going to call the RSPCA. You're going to prison for animal abuse, you fucking sicko. That's what people would say if you're going to ride. You said you were going to ride your cow. But they don't say that about horses. It's just accepted that that's what people do. So that's fucking stupid. So something I've written down here, and I really don't understand where I was going with it. Like, it's just literally these words I've written down, and on my little notes, my podcast notes page, like human leaf cyborgs. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? How pissed was I when I thought that? Human leaf cyborgs, so like a human and a leaf. Oh, so yeah, okay. So a couple of ways that instantly spring to mind why that might be a thing. That if we would create ourselves into human leaf cyborgs that, put leaves on ourselves, then maybe we could start to like be cannibals. Like if you were to like lose leaves, you could have like a salad made out of leaves that are grown on yourself. So instead of having hair, you have like a bush of leaves. Whenever you had a haircut, you could have salad. You have to wash it first, obviously. That's one idea. And the other idea, which I think is potentially smart, is if we had leaves, then we could photosynthesize. So if we were to become human leaf cyborgs and have leaves growing out of our head, we could feed off the energy from the sun and photosynthesize, and that's where we get our energy from. Which might sound bizarre, but actually that's a cracking idea. I reckon that's what I was thinking when I wrote that down, and I'm actually very pleased that that's what I was thinking, because that is fucking smart. I'm a genius. I'm going to get in touch with some scientists and see if they'll do that for me. Can they make me into a human leaf cyborg? And actually, to be honest, leaves would be better than my fucking current crop of hair, which is just shit. I hate my hair. I used to have a huge afro. Now I'm like bald. Not actually bald. Not male pattern bald. Like I shave it. My hair's too thick to do anything with. Like I can't. It's like thick and curly, and I can't like. There's no style you could do with thick and curly. It's just that you just have hair. And it's like a horrible mousy brown sort of colour, which is shit as well. So some nice green leaves, or even multicoloured leaves. You can have leaves in many colours, can't you? That would be better, I think. So yeah, human leaf cyborgs. What if I could have done a whole podcast on that? Maybe I'll ditch this and that's what I'll do. I'll have to write a whole podcast about human leaf cyborgs. Watch this space with that. So on the subject of leaves and plants, and food, generally we talk about food, I'm not having it that people think that tomatoes are a fruit. They're obviously not fruit, are they? Obviously a vegetable. Not like a nice fucking fruity spaghetti bolognese with all those fruits in it. It's a fucking vegetable. Would you put it in a fruit salad? Tomato in your fruit salad? No, you wouldn't. It would be weird. If someone offered you a piece of fruit and you were like, oh, I'd love a piece of fruit, and someone gave you a tomato, you're like, what the fuck is that? Fruit juice, and they give you tomato juice. This is bullshit. A nice fruity cocktail with tomatoes in it? No. Tomatoes are vegetables. Don't know what avocados are, though. They're in some sort of weird middle ground, aren't they? They certainly look like fruits, but they definitely behave like a vegetable. So there's that. Tomatoes are vegetables. I'm going to start a campaign. Take it all the way to the Supreme Court. Get them redesignated. And then we might see about avocados whilst we're there. Sorry, there's just a runner going past. Don't know if I'll do a cut there or not. Yeah. Fruits. Gonna take them all the way to the Supreme Court. The bastards. Get fruits and vegetables properly designated. People were telling me, trying to argue with me the other day, that bananas are berries. Bananas are fruits, mate. Berries aren't that big. Don't be stupid. Bananas are bullshit as well. Like, how can a food taste so shit when you eat it on its own, but so good when you put it in other stuff? I guess the only other food that does that really is like the onion. Like, if you eat onion on its own, that is gross. If you put it in stuff, it makes stuff so much better. Same as banana. Bananas on its own, horrible. Banana bread, banana toast, bananas and custard, banana milkshake, banana smoothie, banana split. All delicious. Because you add it something else or an ingredient, not an actual food. Fucking love a bit of banana in stuff. But I'm not having it on its own. And they're not berries. Oh, another one that's like that is like peppers. Or capsicum, depending on which part of the world you're from. Like bell peppers. They're, a good fact about peppers, or capsicums, that, you get like red, yellow and green ones. They're all the same. And I don't mean that as like a melting pot racial equality way for peppers. I mean, they are literally the same, like, species and like, I don't know, race as each other. It's just they're at different stages of their development. So, like, I don't know the exact order, but maybe when they're kids, they're yellow, and then they turn green as they get older, and then when they're old, they're red. So you can have one pepper which would be all those colours throughout its lifespan. They're not like different species. So, which makes me really annoyed, which is why the red ones are so much more expensive. But it's the same fucking thing. Can't I just buy a green one and leave it there until it turns red? I don't know if that's how it works. But yeah, that's a good fact about the pepper, isn't it? God, I've gone down a real fucking food rabbit hole. Then the rationality of eating meat. Are tomatoes vegetables? Yes, they are. Are bananas, ingredients or actual food? Fun facts about peppers. Human leaf cyborgs turn your hair into a salad. Bit of a cut there. Sorry. People. But yeah, I don't think I have any other really like big ideas, theories about food. So that's a new one on me. I feel like the birds have got quieter. I don't know if it's because it's getting towards night time now. But it is. Yeah, I'm getting quieter. There's an ant on my computer. It's annoying. Oh, delicious. Might do all my podcasts up here. Yeah, maybe with some writing and some more defined topics, but it's a nice place to do it. I don't know how the final recording's going to sound though, how the outdoor element of it's going to be. Oh. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I think that's all my big food ideas. We can go back to the previous food podcasts, I guess. If you're a reasonably new listener and you haven't listened to the previous ones, two of the first 4 episodes are about food. So the second one was episode 2. It was a test episode recorded with my laptop microphone. How far we've come. And basically it was about where Scotch eggs come from. So I'm a person who has a love for food, and I do this thing where I go to places and I eat the food that's named after that place. So I'll eat like spaghetti bolognese in Bologna. I'll eat like cheddar cheese in Cheddar, or Parma ham in Parma, Brussels sprouts in Brussels, etc., etc. And some guy like on the internet, complete stranger, just had a fucking go at me about whether or not Scotch eggs are from Scotland or not, or named after Scotland specifically. And basically the podcast was about my little investigation into where Scotch eggs are named after. And I was right, they are named after Scotland, just indirectly, I guess. I had to go back to the inventor of the Scotch egg to ask them, but I did get a response, and I won that little battle. So do go back and listen to that one. If the other one about food was probably like the best day I've ever had in my life. I had so much fun, recording that episode and making it. It took me fucking like hours to make. It's basically just like 100 clips stitched together to perform 1 half-an-hour episode, because like I spent so long doing it. It was I bought like an array of cheese and performed experiments on those cheeses to work out which one would be the best to recreate the moon, which was fun. That was, yeah, a seriously enjoyable thing to do. I spent the whole day eating cheese. It smelled like cheese in my apartment. I grated loads of it. I got to put my fingers in it. I got to eat it. I was eating cheese for the next week. No wastage here. Yeah, it was fucking such a good day. The final product's a little bit weird. The final cut of the episode's a little bit weird, because I've eaten cheese, but 10 minutes might have passed whilst I was cutting up and eating the cheese. But actually, in podcast terms, only 2 seconds have passed, because I've just edited it together. So I'll be sat there talking away and be like, oh, by the way, I've just tried the camembert, and that's fucking delicious. By the way, you might be thinking what does taste have to do with the moon? It has everything to do with it. If you're going to go to a moon made of cheese, you want it to taste nice. You want it to be a nice cheese. You don't want it to be a shit cheese, do you? So, but we also tested the cheeses on colour and texture, how it would feel underfoot, and texture to see how it would make the soil that's on the moon. So those are my 2 other big food related podcasts. And I've had this long-running idea, of doing my own cooking show. I've done it on YouTube or something. I've done a couple of little videos before, one I put on Facebook of me cooking steak and rice and presenting it like I was a TV chef, which I think was pretty funny. However, opinion is divided on whether or not that was funny. Some people just think it's weird. And I've thought about doing that as a whole, and having a niche to my cooking show. So either picking an ingredient and just going fucking mad with it, like coffee grounds, and then I don't know, putting coffee grounds in my cheese on toast, or coffee grounds in what do people eat in my noodles, making ramen with coffee grounds and just seeing how it tastes, or choosing an implement. I don't know if that's the right word. A utensil which doesn't belong in the kitchen, and using it in the kitchen. So I don't know, using a dildo as a spatula or something, or using feet as a knife and fork. So getting someone to pick food up with their feet and eating it myself, and do that as a little cooking show. But I've never actually done any of it, so it's a bit of a pipe dream at this stage. I have lots of these ideas knocking around my head. It's why I end up doing the podcast, because it's just a nice chance for me to get my ideas out of my body and into the world. And if anyone ever wants to ask me about stuff, I don't have to talk to them. I can just refer them to my podcast, and they can just listen to what I think. So yeah, that's an idea, doing my own cooking show, but probably won't materialise. Other ideas that I've had is recording sounds and doing like a sound only podcast, like, and I don't mean like my voice, I mean random sounds. I don't know if that would be like in an ASMR setting, or if that would be in like I don't know, just making sounds with my hands on a desk and seeing what sort of like cool melodies I can make out of it. But the problem is with that is like fucking no one's gonna listen to that. So I can make it in my spare time, but like it'd just be a waste of my time, everyone else's time as well. So that's why I haven't done that one. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I might knock it on the head there. Don't know how long we've been going. About 45 minutes, probably. My laptop's probably running out of battery. Haven't read any of my book. Got distracted with an impromptu podcast. Haven't read any of the book. It's a book I've been reading for about 3 months now, and about 20 pages in. I think I just don't like reading. As much as I'd love to like read it, I just don't think I do. I much prefer audio. I think I can get on with my life whilst audio's happening. Reading, you have to sit there and read. Like, you can't even listen to music while you're reading, you get distracted. Like, you read like 3 pages and realise you actually haven't taken in any of the words. It's so fucking annoying. That being said, I'd love to write a book. I don't know what about, but it'd be fun to write a book. Sorry, I was daydreaming. Daydreaming about whatever it was I just last said. Oh yeah, about writing a book. Yeah, I'll stop daydreaming. I'll probably just leave it there. If I'm actually getting bored of myself and starting to daydream, that I'd imagine you're probably getting bored of me too. So we'll leave it there. I don't know if I'll put this out. If I do put this out, on the podcast, then I hope you enjoyed it. It's something a little bit different. But if you didn't enjoy it, then yeah, I can understand. Lots of pauses, lots of me not knowing what I'm talking about, lots of rambling, lots of stops and starts, lots of annoying background noise, which I won't treat in the after editing process. So I'll leave you there, I think. Have a good Christmas. Look, if I'm putting this out, it won't be till after Christmas anyway, but it's Christmas Eve right now, that's why I said have a good Christmas. I hope you had a good Christmas. Then again, I might not put this out until like summer. I hope you had a good time recently. A good existence in the recent times. I'll leave you with some nature sounds whilst I pack my things up. And hopefully that will just drift the podcast off into nothingness until the next loud thing comes up on your player. Can you hear those people's voices? Honestly, those people that you can hear are like 40 metres away from me. That's how strong this microphone is. It's a bit of a nightmare. Because I think I said the other day that it was picking up the voices of my next door neighbours, which is nuts, really. Yeah, shouldn't be listening to my neighbours. Although I could. Have you ever seen it's like in like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, where like they're listening to the neighbours with all the microphones up against the wall. He smashes his head through the wall and he sees all the microphones. And, oh fuck, the neighbours have been spying on us. That's what it would be like. Other than that, I don't live in a terraced house, so that couldn't happen. Which makes it even more impressive that I can hear my neighbours. Anyway, that'll be that, I think. Let's stop rambling. I'll let you go.